Let's talk about proportions and specifically cars and vehicles. So, truck, van, sports car, mid engine and front engine. And we can also talk about sedans. So, when you look at a car and you try to sketch a car, it becomes very hard if you're looking at it as one single object with all the shapes combined. So, what I like to do is to kind of break the shapes up into boxes, and that way it kind of helps me to get the proportions right. Yeah, specifically proportions, and also in perspective. Sometimes I like to do the cloud sketching technique, but sometimes I do this as well. So let's start with a truck, for example. uh, we have the baseline as usual, so I'm going to try and fill this page up with different kinds of vehicles. And we have the wheels. Let's put out some wheels here. Bam, and bam. And the wheelbase for each specific type of vehicle, what I would suggest is to kind of take an image of a side view of the vehicle you're trying to sketch, and then see how many wheels you can fit in between here. That's kind of how you get the wheelbase for each type of vehicle. So I would say probably 3.5 for a truck or something like that. So we have the main wheels here, and we're gonna start by doing this in side view. So we have, if I look at a truck, I would separate it into three different boxes. So box number one would be the hood. So here we have box number one. Box number two would be the cabin or the greenhouse, something like that. And then you have the bed, which is box number three. And from here, we kind of have the proportions right now. We can start to play around with the right height, for example. We might want to have it higher than this, or maybe cut it off right in the middle of the wheels. Or if it's a slammed truck, you kind of want to have it down here. That's totally up to you. But the main important thing here is that we have the proportions right. If you start a sketch without having the proportions right, it's gonna look weird and it's gonna look bad. So proportions is pretty much everything. I mean, and these points here, where this starts, for example, where you're gonna put the A pillar, that's also a very good idea to look to get reference for by looking at photos. So you want to have a side view of each vehicle that you're trying to sketch, and then try to copy and look at these points. For example, how far out does the overhang in the front right here? What is the ride height here? And what's the angle of the A pillar? Is it 45 degrees, or is it straight up like an old Jeep? Stuff like that. So you get all these reference points, and the more reference points you have, the easier it's going to be to sketch, obviously. And some have like a crew cab, which will be a 4-seater, but I'm going to do a 2-seater for this sketch. Usually there is a separation between the cabin and the bed, so I'm going to put that out. Just make it like this, a section line in between those. And I don't want to have it super slammed. I'm going to have it something like that. So I have the baseline pretty much in the center of the wheel height here. So we have the wheels here, and I want to have the baseline of the car, or the ride height, be right at the center of, halfway up of the wheels. Then we can sketch the glass and the greenhouse here. Something like that. So as you can see, starting with the box, now it got so much easier to get this done. And sorry for Rosie coming in here and just walking around on my sketches. She always does that, she's crazy. And we might want to design the front end to make it more aerodynamic or something like that. And right now we're set. We're done to start creating some styling features for this truck. And my cats are going crazy. It's kind of hard to record when they are all so energetic. They were just asleep like 2 seconds ago, and then when I start recording, every time they go crazy. I don't know what it is. It's weird. Cats are weird, but I love them. So we're adding some ground shadow to this. And boom, we have a truck. From here, you can basically do whatever you want. You can design it. You might want to have some sort of a spoiler down here, or maybe some graphics over here, make some reflections. And you can even make this like a square if you want to do that. Or you can keep it round, it's totally up to you. So I'm just gonna make the same thing on the front. There we go. And I think I'm happy with my truck here. So that's the basics of a truck. You wanna start with box number 1. Box number 2, and then finally you have the bed, which will be box number 3. So now let's move on to, let's say we want to sketch a van. How are we going to box that up? I'm going to show you that right now.